You ever wake up one morning, look out your kitchen window, and realize that, no joke, 98 houses have popped up on your land? Not by mistake. Not by accident. No, sir. Somebody planned this. And now you've got McMansions, paved driveways, and an HOA president in a white Escalade telling you that you are what's bringing down the neighborhood property values. That was the start of my little adventure. My name's Ezra Blackwood. I'm what folks around here like to call old school stubborn, which I take as a compliment, honestly. I spent most of my life with diesel grease under my nails, working 30 years at Murphy's Garage until my granddad passed and left me his land, a solid 47 acres of rolling pasture, creaky farmhouse, chickens, the whole Norman Rockwell thing. My wife, Martha, runs the elementary school library. Our kids grew up, moved to the city, and now send us articles on why old people should downsize for safety. Thanks, kids, but I'm not leaving. This isn't the middle of nowhere. This is home. The kind with roots you can feel in your bones and calluses that mean something. And yeah, for 8 years after I inherited the farm, I paid every cent of the property taxes, mowed the grass, fixed the fences, never thought twice about getting a professional survey done. Why would I? The boundaries were as old as the trees. The fence was where it always was. Nobody ever argued. That is, until Veronica Ashford rolled into town. Picture everything you hate about a HOA president. Now crank it up to 11. She shows up with this blonde bob that probably has its own zip code, Pilates arms, and an SUV big enough to tow a parade float. Her husband, Sterling? Real estate developer. One of those guys who turns farms into communities. You know the type. And the first thing they do is slap up a sign, Heritage Meadows. The only thing heritage about it is the ground it sits on, and that used to be mine. Veronica didn't just move in. She took over. School board meetings, city council, planning commission, wherever there was a microphone, there she was. And one Tuesday in September, she came knocking at my door, with the sheriff in tow, waving a thick folder full of HOA bylaws and official notices like some kind of suburban Joan of Arc. She says, "Mr. Blackwood, your chicken coop violates setback requirements and is a health hazard. We'll need it removed in 48 hours. Oh, and here's a $2,500 fine." Now, I'm a reasonable man, but if you come at me before I've had my coffee, you're going to get the stubborn side. "Ma'am," I told her, "those chickens have been here longer than the pavement you rolled in on." Her smile? Cold enough to chill sweet tea in August. We simply cannot allow poverty aesthetics to override modern property requirements, she says. The health department is concerned. That's when I felt it, the first rumble. Something was off. The legal address on her documents matched mine, but the boundaries? They didn't sound right. I told her, "You might want to double-check those lines, ma'am," but she was already getting back in her Escalade, shoes clicking on my gravel like gunshots. 2 weeks later, the surveyor I'd hired, Frank Morrison, local legend, delivered the verdict. The development company's official survey? Completely fabricated. Sterling had built 98 houses, pools, driveways, even a fancy entrance road, on land they didn't own. On my land. I'll let you sit with that for a second. Now, I could have stormed into town hall, flipped some tables, raised all kinds of hell. But where's the fun in that? Instead, I did absolutely nothing. Let them finish building. Let them throw their big HOA victory festival. Let them invite the county commission, the news, their army of real estate agents. Hell, let them finish the landscaping. I wanted their arrogance fully bloomed. Meanwhile, Veronica cranked up the pressure, filed a restraining order, spread rumors about me, threatening property values, posted Ring camera footage of me walking my own fence line, spun it into tales of dangerous rural extremists. She even got a psychologist to write a letter about how my fixation on boundaries was a risk to children's safety. You think I was running a meth lab, not feeding chickens. Every trick in the book, noise complaints, rooster crowing at dawn, criminal, calls to the county, fake social media accounts, even tried to get Martha fired from the school library. Our mailbox got trashed twice. One morning, some property protection crew tried to tear up my survey markers. Didn't know they were on candid camera. Sterling's lawyers sent a cease and desist, threatened to sue me for millions. I just filed every document, kept every receipt, recorded every coincidence. Because the thing about power is it gets sloppy when it's sure of itself. Now, here comes a twist. While Veronica was out here playing HOA Napoleon, Sterling had committed federal crimes. Not just local harassment or zoning. He'd filled and protected wetlands. Used my property as collateral for an $18 million bank loan. Title insurance? Void. Septic systems failing. Foundations cracking. Homeowners quietly dealing with disaster while Sterling pocketed cash and lined pockets at the county office. My surveyor, Frank, connected me with a lawyer, Patricia Santos, environmental law bulldog. She took one look at the maps and started calling in favors. Then came Sarah Sage, an investigative reporter with a nose for developer fraud. Suddenly, this wasn't just my fight. 3 families with foundation issues, 2 county employees with evidence of bribes, the EPA, and the FBI all came together like the cavalry in an old Western. Even Martha found old deeds that proved the subdivision was built illegally, ironclad. So I'm sitting on the biggest legal nuke in county history, watching Sterling and Veronica plan their big festival. They think they're about to win. They invite the media, the mayor, the school board, half the town. They set up bouncy houses, food trucks on my property, on my septic lines. My wife bakes cookies for the sheriff's kids. Nobody suspects a thing. The morning of the festival is bright, cold, and clear. You can smell barbecue and kettle corn, hear kids laughing. Sterling steps up to the podium, right on the true boundary line. He's got that billionaire smile, hands the mic to me like he's about to witness my surrender. And that's when I pulled out the map. Ladies and gentlemen, I say, holding up Frank's certified survey for every camera in the county to see. According to this official document, every single one of you is standing on private property. My property. There was this ripple through the crowd, like someone just kicked a hornet's nest. People looked around, saw the bouncy houses, the food trucks. Suddenly, they weren't sure whose lawn they were on. That's when Agent Rodriguez from the EPA steps up. This development was constructed on illegally filled federal wetlands. Mr. Ashford is under investigation for environmental crimes, fraud, and bank violations. Then the FBI agent, badge and all, put Sterling in cuffs right there in front of everyone, with the news rolling. Veronica? She tried to make a run for it in those ridiculous heels, but Sarah Sage and her camera crew boxed her in. Justice, right there in living color. Sterling hauled off in handcuffs, his assets seized, bank loans called in. Veronica lost her house and her platform. Word is she's back in Orange County, working retail. The crowd, after the shock wore off, turned their anger to the real villains. Some even thanked me for not bulldozing their homes. Here's the thing I learned in all this. You can fight power with power, sure. Or you can let arrogant people build their own downfall, brick by brick, while you quietly gather your receipts. Sometimes the best revenge is patience and having truth on your side. In the aftermath, something unexpected happened. The community didn't crumble. People came together, negotiated to buy the land under their houses at fair value. No more inflated dreams, just real ownership. Fund from the settlement went to fix foundations, repair the wetlands, and even set up scholarships for kids interested in environmental law and farming. The former HOA became democratic, the bylaws got rewritten, and nobody's putting up with a dictator ever again. My wife. She got recognized as a local hero. General Patton, the rooster, became a minor celebrity, mascot of the new Willowbrook. Even the state legislature passed a law requiring real environmental surveys for all new developments. Turns out, fighting back the right way can actually make the world a little better. The sweetest part? Sitting on my porch at sunset, hearing kids laugh in the community park, right where Sterling planned to pour concrete for his next scam. Martha reads in her chair. Our grandkids visit more often. We're part of something again, not just the background of a developer's brochure. Now, before you go thinking this is all rainbows, let me leave you with a question. What is justice, really? Is it getting even or making things right for everyone? Even the folks who ended up your neighbors by mistake? Where do you draw the line between fighting for what's yours and making sure others aren't collateral damage? There's a fine line between retribution and real justice, and sometimes it takes losing everything or nearly losing it to figure out which side you're on. So, what would you have done if someone built a whole neighborhood on your land? Share your stories below. HOA nightmares, small town drama, times you stood up to bullies, or maybe times you were the bully and learned something hard about yourself. Because, let's be honest, the only thing that ever stops fraud and arrogance is when ordinary people refuse to back down and tell their story.